Alright, so today we went to the Okinichi Trail. Um, it's an old dirt NASCAR track that the people of, I don't know, some town turned into like a little trail you can walk on. So much old cars there. Took pictures of, that was the first one. There's me taking another picture. Car with a broken window. Another car, the second car. I think there's only two cars there, but those are the cool old race cars that they used to have. And then we went up to the old stands that they used to have, and I figured this would be a good picture to have all the kids looking in, because that's what me and Mason, my friend recording, were doing like a minute prior. Then we traveled off into the woods, found a deer, took another picture. It's pretty cool. But this is what I'm actually doing. I'm doing cyanotypes, which is an old printing method developed in 1842, I believe, somewhere in the early 1800s. What you do is I order these bottles offline. It's a 2-part mixture. You pour water into both of them, and then just shake them up. And then once you fill both bottles up, what you do is pour equal parts into some kind of container. I used a creme brulee dish, I guess, and just poured a cap full into each. I really didn't need that much, since I did a lot of prints, but you really don't need a lot if you can spread it correctly. But yeah, that's just the 2-part mixture. I started with like a pencil. Doesn't really matter what you use, but that's what I used. I used a foam brush. I wish I got a bigger one, but suddenly when I found it in my house, and what you do is you just kind of spread it evenly across the watercolor paper. You want to use watercolor paper if you're doing this, and just keep spreading it until it's completely filled. This is the paper I use. I got it for like $7 from Walmart, so you can get whatever paper as long as it's watercolor. And this is the best method, I believe, the diagonal. But this is how you get the negatives. Just invert it. That's all I did in Lightroom. Printed it on a transparency and then taped it onto the sheet of watercolor paper, took it off, and this is the process of how to actually get the print now. After it's been in the sun for a while, it'll leave the negative still blue, and then everything else will pretty much get burned by the UV rays. And then once you put it in just water, all the chemicals will start coming off of it, and then it'll invert itself again, so you get the actual print. You're supposed to use distilled water, but I just used tap water because I really didn't feel like buying gallons of water from the grocery store. And then second step is to put it in a mixture with hydrogen peroxide, and that'll fully cure and develop the cyanotype print. You can let it sit for 24 hours, but I'm not that patient. You can see it gets pretty good detail, and you can even see the texture of the watercolor paper and the shine from the light. It's pretty cool. You can even see like the grass blades, because it just gets everything. And this is just me setting up 4 other prints. That's the process. You just lay them out, put transparencies over, and then I tape them just to keep it lined up. And I have this big glass sheet, but I broke it because I kicked it. But when I had the glass, I taped it to the glass and then put a big wooden board beneath it to just keep it as flat as possible so that it wouldn't move from the sun's rays and get all blurry and distorted. You can see how it changed in the UV light. And then once again put it in, and then it just kind of works like magic. And it goes from like brown and blue to this pretty good color of cyan. That's a picture of some raspberries I took like a month ago with some old camera. And then once it gets developed, it really has a lot of contrast and looks great. And then this is something, this is a clock tower at NC State that my mom wanted a print of so she could frame it and put up at her work. This is, I think this is definitely my favorite one I did. It was a cloudy day and like all gloomy and rainy, but since it's just this really cool blue color, you can't even really tell what it was like. It just has a lot of cool fluffy clouds and it doesn't look gloomy. It's just like, it looks like a normal day. You can see the water kind of turns blue, so if you do this, you want to like replace the water after every two prints, I'd say, just so you can keep clearing off all the chemicals and it not be all filled with other chemicals. I don't know. And this is, I didn't have the peroxide in already, so you can see just as soon as it makes contact with the paper, it just starts changing colors. And it turns out amazing. This was also the first picture I took. I was in like a bunch of different angles, but this was the first picture I took, and I just figured for some reason it was the best one. And then this is a picture of me and Mason, the one that was recording the little intro part. This was taken at a beach in May. You can see I'm on the right, he's on the left. Took it on my friend Noah's sunglasses. That's why we were chilling at the beach. That was a pretty cool picture. You can see his nose in it. And his hair, but usually when you first look at the picture, you just don't notice that until after, so you get like the bigger picture of the image. Once again, just gets better when it was transferred into the peroxide water solution. And once they're also out to dry for a little bit, they look better, so they're not so dark. And this is a picture of me and my roommate. You can just see how it really just changes like magic from like kind of gray green color to just a really nice blue color. And there we go. And these were pictures taken on film at a festival that I did. I really like doing the 4x6 pictures because I can get a lot done for a pretty cheap amount. The transparency is like 75 cents for a full page, and I can get about 3 pictures onto the transparency page. So it's like 25 cents per transparency, and then I couldn't even tell you how much it is per sheet of paper, probably like 10 cents, and then that split into 4 is like 2.5 cents, so I'm paying about 30 cents per 4x6 picture, which is a pretty good deal. If you factor in the actual chemicals for it, for the cyanotype, it's still not much. It's like barely in it at all, maybe 35 cents per picture. And you get this really unique image that probably nobody else will ever have. It's a very obscure print process that it's definitely outdated, but it's my favorite thing to do with the pictures I really like doing, so I can put them all into a book and just have them to look back on, because I know like my great grandparents probably used this to get their pictures made, and nobody since then has really been doing this. There's a few people on YouTube I found, but it's not very common, so the average person will not have any of these pictures. And this is just I think the best picture for on film that I got at the festival that was usable for cyanotype, because I got another really good picture, but it's just better for digital than for cyanotype, since it was like it was a very dark image, so it wouldn't process well in this method. But this headshot I got was pretty good, and I also messed up getting all the chemicals on there, but I think it looked pretty cool how the brush strokes were, leaving some empty space. This is a picture of my friend Chris that I got at a photography meetup. That was, I think it was the best one I got on the roll of black and white. I liked the car one with the kids, but these two are pretty close. And then I turned off my light here just so you could see the picture a little bit better. And yeah, that's it. That's pretty much how to make prints at your house using cyanotype.